Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Hannah.
And I'm James. Great to have you with us today.
Today, we are focusing on something really practical and useful. We are talking about money. More specifically, how to talk about money in English.
That's right. Money is something we all deal with every single day. We earn it, we spend it, we save it, and we talk about it constantly.
Exactly. Whether you're shopping, working, traveling, or just chatting with friends, you need to feel confident talking about money in English.
And that's what this summary is all about. We're going to help you understand the main ideas from the original conversation, and we will make sure you feel more comfortable with this essential topic.
So let's start with the basics. Why is it important to learn how to talk about money in English?
Well, Hannah, money touches almost every part of our lives. When you go to a shop, you need to ask about prices. When you get a job, you discuss your salary. When you travel, you exchange currency.
That's true. And if you can't talk about money clearly, you might feel confused or even worried in these situations.
Right. Being able to discuss money means you can manage your daily life more easily. You can understand what things cost, you can make good decisions, and you can feel independent.
So it's not just about vocabulary, it's about confidence and control in real-life situations.
Absolutely. Now let's look at some of the core ideas about talking about money in English.
The first big idea is understanding how we ask for prices. This is one of the most common things you'll do in English.
Yes, and there are several ways to ask. The simplest one is, how much is this? Or, how much does this cost?
These questions are clear and direct. You can use them in shops, restaurants, markets, anywhere, really.
You might also hear people say, what's the price? Or even just, how much, if the situation is very clear.
The important thing is to sound polite and natural. You don't need complicated language. Simple and clear is always best.
Exactly. Now let's talk about how we express prices in English. This can be a little tricky at first.
When we talk about pounds and pence, we usually say the number, then the currency. For example, £5 or £10 50.
If something costs exactly £5, we say £5. But if it costs £5 and 20 pence, we say £5 20 or 5.20.
We don't usually say pence in everyday speech unless we're talking about very small amounts. For example, 50 pence or 20 pence.
That's a good point. In American English, they do the same with dollars and cents, $10 or 10.50 for $10.50.
So the pattern is the same. Keep it simple and natural.
Another important idea is talking about expensive and cheap. These are words we use all the time.
If something costs a lot of money, we say it's expensive. If it does not cost much, we say it's cheap or inexpensive.
You might also hear people say something is good value or worth the money. This means the quality is good for the price you pay.
And if something is too expensive, we might say it's overpriced or it's not worth it.
These phrases help you express your opinion about prices. That's really useful when you're shopping or making decisions about what to buy.
Now let's move on to another key idea, paying for things. There are different ways to pay, and we need specific language for each one.
The most traditional way is paying with cash. That means using notes and coins. You might say, I'll pay in cash, or do you accept cash?
These days, many people pay by card. You can say, I'll pay by card, or can I pay with my card?
And there's also contactless payment, where you just tap your card or phone on a machine. You might ask, do you take contactless?
Yes, and mobile payment is very common too. People use apps on their phones to pay. You could say, I'll pay with my phone, or can I use Apple Pay?
The important thing is knowing which method you prefer and being able to ask about it clearly.
Another core idea is understanding discounts and offers. These are ways to save money when you shop.
A discount means you pay less than the original price. For example, if something has a 20% discount, you save 20% of the cost.
We often say, there's a discount on this item, or this is on sale. Both mean the price is lower than usual.
You might also hear about special offers, like buy one get one free or two for the price of one. These are ways shops encourage people to buy more.
And if you have a voucher or a coupon, that's a piece of paper or a code that gives you money off your purchase.
Knowing these words helps you take advantage of good deals and save money. That's always useful.
Now, let's talk about saving and spending. These are two sides of the same coin, you could say.
When you save money, you keep it for the future instead of spending it now. You might say, I'm saving for a holiday, or I'm trying to save money.
And when you spend money, you use it to buy things. I spent £50 today, or I don't want to spend too much.
It's important to balance saving and spending. If you spend everything, you won't have money for emergencies or future plans.
That's true. Many people try to save a little bit every month. Even a small amount can grow over time.
Exactly. And being able to talk about your savings goals in English helps you stay motivated and share your plans with others.
Another important topic is earning money. This is how we get money in the first place, usually through work.
When you have a job, you earn a salary or wages. A salary is usually paid monthly, and wages are often paid weekly or hourly.
You might say, I earn £2,000 a month, or what's your salary? Though that second question can be quite personal in some cultures.
That's a good point, Hannah. In Britain, people don't always feel comfortable discussing exactly how much they earn. It's considered private.
Yes, but it's still important to know the vocabulary. You might need it when applying for jobs or talking to your employer.
And you should also know about related words like income, which means all the money you receive, and wage, which is payment for hourly work.
Let's talk about borrowing and lending now. These are about giving and receiving money temporarily.
When you borrow money, you take it from someone and promise to give it back. Can I borrow £10? Or I borrowed money from my friend.
And when you lend money, you give it to someone who will return it later. I lent him £20, or can you lend me some money?
It's easy to confuse these two words. Remember, you borrow from someone and you lend to someone.
A good way to remember is that lend and give both have 4 letters. When you lend, you give temporarily.
That's a helpful tip. And remember, borrowing and lending should always be clear and agreed by both people.
Another area to understand is bills and expenses. These are things you have to pay for regularly.
A bill is a request for payment. You get bills for electricity, water, gas, your phone, and many other services. You might say, I need to pay my electricity bill, or the bills are due at the end of the month.
Expenses are all the things you spend money on. Some expenses are fixed, like rent, and some vary, like food shopping.
Understanding your expenses helps you manage your money better. You can see where your money goes and make better choices. That's right. And in English, we often talk about monthly expenses or keeping track of expenses.
Now let's discuss banking vocabulary. Most people have a bank account, so this language is very practical.
A bank account is where you keep your money safely. You can have a current account for everyday spending and a savings account for money you want to keep.
When you put money into your account, we say you deposit money or pay money in. And when you take money out, you withdraw money.
You might also need to transfer money, which means moving it from one account to another. I will transfer the money to your account today.
And there's balance, which is the amount of money you have in your account right now. What's my balance? Or I need to check my balance.
These words come up constantly when dealing with banks, so it's good to feel confident with them.
Let's move on to the key takeaways. What are the most practical lessons from all of this?
Well, the first takeaway is that you don't need complex language to talk about money. Simple, clear English works perfectly well.
That's so important. Don't worry about sounding fancy, just focus on being understood.
The second takeaway is that confidence comes from practice. The more you use these words and phrases, the more natural they'll feel.
You can practice by thinking about your own life. How much do you spend on food each week? What are your monthly bills? What are you saving for?
Exactly. Make it personal and relevant. That's how you remember the language.
Another key takeaway is that money conversations are part of daily life. They're not special or unusual, they're normal.
So don't feel nervous about them. Whether you are in a shop, at work, or with friends, talking about money is just ordinary communication.
And remember, it's okay to ask questions if you don't understand something. Could you repeat that? Or what does that mean? Are perfectly fine.
Yes, people are usually happy to help, especially if they can see you are trying to communicate clearly.
The next takeaway is about cultural differences. Different countries have different attitudes towards discussing money.
In Britain, people are often quite private about their income. They might not want to tell you exactly how much they earn.
But in other cultures, it might be more normal to discuss salaries openly. There's no right or wrong, just different customs.
So be sensitive and follow the other person's lead. If they seem uncomfortable, don't push the topic.
Another practical takeaway is to learn the specific vocabulary you need for your own situation.
If you're a student, you might need words like tuition fees, student loan, or accommodation costs.
If you're working, you'll need salary, tax, pension, and pay rise.
And if you're traveling, you'll need exchange rate, currency, and travel insurance.
So think about your life and focus on the words that matter most to you.
That makes learning much more efficient and motivating.
One more takeaway. Listening is just as important as speaking. Pay attention to how native speakers talk about money.
Notice the phrases they use, the tone they adopt, and the situations where they discuss money openly or privately.
You can learn so much just by observing and listening carefully.
And finally, remember that mistakes are normal and okay. Everyone makes mistakes when learning a language.
If you say lend instead of borrow, or you get confused about prices, it's not a problem. People will understand and you'll learn from the experience.
Absolutely. The goal is communication, not perfection.
So now let's think about some of the important vocabulary we've covered naturally in this conversation.
We've talked about prices, costs, expensive, cheap, and value. These help you understand and compare what things are worth.
We've covered cash, card, contactless, and mobile payment. These are the main ways people pay for things today.
We looked at discount, sale, offer, voucher, and coupon. These all relate to paying less than the usual price.
We discussed save, spend, earn, salary, and wages. These are about how money comes in and goes out of your life.
And we explored borrow, lend, bill, expenses, and account. These are essential for managing your money day to day.
We also mentioned deposit, withdraw, transfer, and balance. These come up whenever you use a bank.
All of these words are practical and useful. You will hear them and need them regularly in English-speaking environments.
And the best thing is, you don't need to learn them all at once. Start with the ones you need most often.
Exactly. Build your vocabulary step by step based on your real life.
So what should you do after listening to this summary?
Well, first, think about your own relationship with money. What do you buy regularly? Where do you spend most of your money?
Then, try to describe these things in English. Even if you're just talking to yourself, it's great practice.
You could also look at your bank statements or your receipts and practice saying the amounts out loud in English.
That's a brilliant idea. I spent £15 at the supermarket. I paid $8.50 for coffee. I transferred £50 to my savings account.
The more you connect English to your real experiences, the more natural it becomes.
You could also listen to English language content about money. There are podcasts, videos, and articles that discuss personal finance, shopping, or economics.
You don't need to understand everything. Just listening to how people use the language is valuable.
And if you have English-speaking friends or colleagues, try to include money topics in your conversations naturally.
For example, if you're planning to meet for lunch, you could ask, "How much does that restaurant usually cost?" Or, "Shall we split the bill?"
These small, natural conversations build your confidence much more than any textbook exercise.
That's so true, Hannah. Real communication is always the best teacher.
Now, as we come to the end of this summary, let's reflect on what we've learned.
We've seen that talking about money in English doesn't have to be difficult or stressful.
It's just another part of everyday communication, and like any skill, it gets easier with practice.
The vocabulary is practical and useful, the phrases are simple and clear, and the situations are ones you will face regularly.
So there's no reason to feel nervous or uncertain. You have the tools you need.
And remember, everyone started exactly where you are now. Native speakers were children once, learning these words for the first time too.
The difference is just practice and exposure. The more you use English to talk about money, the more confident you will become.
And confidence makes everything easier. When you feel comfortable, you communicate better and people understand you more clearly.
So our final message is this: be patient with yourself, practice regularly, and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Every conversation is a chance to learn. Every mistake is a step forward.
And before you know it, talking about money in English will feel completely natural and easy.
You have got this. Just keep going, keep practicing, and trust the process.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Amiir Talk. We hope this summary has been helpful and encouraging.
If you found it useful, please share it with other English learners. We are all in this together.
And remember, learning English is a journey, not a race. Enjoy each step.
Take care, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye for now, and keep practicing.